Okay, we're all set.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Happy Earth Week. I'm going to call this meeting of the Board of Directors of the Connecticut Green Bank to order on Friday, April 25th at 6:02 a.m. Let's see, the first item on the agenda would be public comments. Do I hear any public comments? No. So the next item is the consent agenda. Brian, did you want to talk a little bit about that? Or
yeah, we have our meeting minutes from our last meeting of March 21st as resolution number 1. And then just a few updates. We've got our report out of staff approved transactions that are consistent with our comprehensive plan and budget. 3 transactions there, C-PACE transactions totaling nearly $900,000 of investment, projects in Branford, Manchester, and Wethersfield. We also included, and the staff is going to work through today, our progress to targets through Q3 of fiscal year 25. And we included in the report out the Inclusive Prosperity Capital through Q2 of FY25 report. So we've got resolution number 1 for the consent agenda.
do we have any questions or observations? Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve. This is Kim.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second from Brenda.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Okay. Everybody.
All
So
right.
moving, so moving on. So this has been kind of national news, our greenhouse gas reduction fund and what we've been doing. And so Brian, did you want to start on that? I think we have Brian and Stephanie as well.
Yeah, why don't I do an update, and we've got the team, Stephanie and Brian here to back me up. Just wanted to do an update before we have Bert and Eric talk about our green homes linked deposits investment, and then Sarah and Kevin talking about providing an update on our green school buses activities. So just in terms of an update, let's step back a little bit here, give us all a few important historical dates. The Inflation Reduction Act, as we all might recall, was passed in August of 2022. That act has a number of important things to advance investment in clean energy, but includes the single largest investment in climate change outside of tax credits through the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. The Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund went through an extensive process resulting in the filing of a number of applications in October of 2023. The EPA announced in April of 2024, just before Earth Day, the winners of those competitions. We worked with the awardees to support their revisions to their work plans, and those awards were revised and approved by the EPA in August of 2024. And then we at Connecticut Green Bank worked with the awardee in the case of the Coalition for Green Capital being one of the 3 winners in the National Clean Investment Fund. We worked through executing our agreement with CGC and getting that closed out in December of 2024. Shortly thereafter, in January, we executed our account control agreement with Citibank, which meant that the $93.5 million was transferred from the Coalition for Green Capital to the Connecticut Green Bank to support our implementation of our work plan. $41 million of that $93.5 million are for Connecticut, $38.5 million are for Puerto Rico, and about $15 million is for New Hampshire. So all of that money went into our account at Citibank. Our team made a few draws from that account to support our administrative costs to get our programs and work plan up and running. And then, shortly thereafter on, the early part of March, the EPA announced that the NCIF and CCIA awards were terminated by sending letters to all the awardees. So these were unlawful terminations, which resulted in, as you can see in the bottom pink there on the left, on March 12th, the Coalition for Green Capital filing a lawsuit against the EPA and Citibank, essentially seeking a temporary restraining order, saying that the funds that were deposited at Citibank for the support of the work plans were not to be returned to Treasury, but were to stay there in those accounts for the awardee to continue to implement the work plan. From that point, through the temporary restraining order process, the Coalition for Green Capital and other awardees, which all came together and consolidated into one case, filed for a motion of preliminary injunction to effectively work to unfreeze those accounts so that they can continue to implement the work plan. While all this was happening, we were continuing to, as you'll hear today, work towards supporting our work plan, executed our agreement with the Puerto Rico Green Energy Trust, which is there. It's all documentation. No money has transferred, but we've got our legal arrangements in place. We've continued to every other week make our administrative requests through the Citibank account, just staying on a steady, predictable, scheduled what we were going to do, filing. So we do that every other week. Stephanie working with our accounting team, Jane and Dan, to get those filings in. Again, the funds are frozen, but we're just following a systematic process here on those filings. Judge Chutkin, a week and a half ago or so, issued and granted the preliminary injunction request of the awardees. Essentially, that would have allowed access to the city funds, but immediately thereafter, the EPA filed an emergency stay, moving the case to the appeals court. So that's where we are. The funds are frozen. And the case is now moved from the district court to now the Court of Appeals. So this is all part of the legal process, and we're supporting CGC as the awardee as they work through this process. Let me see if Stephanie or Brian have anything else to add there, just in terms of some of the legal update.
Well, that's great, Brian. I think that's right. And at the end of the day, nobody has a crystal ball. It's with the DC Court of Appeals. We have calls on a weekly basis as sub-awardees and awardees, and hopefully, we'll learn more. Thanks.
I think it was key, though, that the EPA was not able to bring that money back into its own account. So it's the rulings have been going in our favor thus far, which is a really good thing that we've got such a strong case. So hopefully, but you're absolutely right, Brian. These things there's just so much happening that it feels like we're really on the right path, and that we've been really making a very good case for ourselves.
Exactly. So that's a quick update. If board members are interested in the on the cover letter in the board materials is a link to Judge Chutkin's reasoned opinion. It's really good. It's accessible for a non-legal type like me to really understand what's going on. She does a great job just kind of laying out the parties and her decision. So that's in the materials. So now let's turn it to Bert on our green homes side of the investment. Bert, let me turn it over to you.
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Perfect. Okay. Well, yes, what we want to bring to the board, this is just a recap of what was discussed with the board back in February with the linked deposits program that is being proposed to be funded by the National Clean Investment Fund, which Brian just walked through. These are the various program areas that we identified in our plan. Green homes, multifamily, and single family being one of those, and the link deposits program is to benefit single family under the Smart E program. So that we have in place. If you could go to the next slide, please. So this is just a recap, but the link deposits is a program that we piloted with Mutual Security Credit Union. The board expanded by about $1 million the program in June of last year to extend until June of this year. The program has been successful, and it provided the basis for us to develop a link deposits program with Smarty lenders. Let's go to the next slide. And up above is the non-highlighted portion of the slide just recaps what the board did approve back in February, and that is to use $10 million of NCIF funds, which Brian indicated are currently frozen, to provide the capital for using as link deposits to our various Smarty lenders to lend specifically to qualifying projects for low-income and disadvantaged communities, so-called LIDACs. And Eric Schrago and Eric cannot be on this morning, or he'll be arriving late, but Eric and I had conversations with just about all of the current Smarty lenders, and maybe one or two prospective lenders, and each and every one was not only very excited about the possibility of this program, but also said that they too were trying to find out ways to reach these communities. And so we didn't realize that there was going to be such a clamoring for this program. We thought we were going to have to really sell the lenders on this, but they were actually lockstep with us. So after those calls with the lenders, Eric and I talked it through, and we're being very concerned with the freeze it's on, the indeterminate period for us to be able to get those funds, and we wanted to do something to be able to support our lenders now, at least in some way, to kind of keep the momentum going in this program and get it off the ground. So we concluded that what we should ask the board for is $5 million to be allocated out of clean energy funds on a hopefully temporary basis until the NCIF funds become released. Of course, there's no assurance that those funds will be ever released, but we have to assume that is a potential risk. But that we could get the program off the ground using using clean energy funds, which we have sufficient liquidity and available powder for, and that when and if the NCIF funds are released, we would then switch the funds around, recover the clean energy funds, and then use as link deposit funds the NCIF dollars that are currently being held up at Citibank. So that's the proposal, which is at the bottom part of this slide, and I think it was a great program with NCIF, very well received by the lenders. We just want to keep the momentum going. And if the board approves, then we would continue the discussions with the Smarty lenders. And this is probably an FY26 activation. There's no way we're going to finish the documentation by before the end of the fiscal year, or we might target the end of the fiscal year to complete it. But we should be up and ready to go by the summer. So back to you, Chair Reed. I'm happy to take any questions.
Yeah, are there questions or observations? Adrian?
Yeah, I just wondered what was our objective in terms of the number of units that we wanted to finance to this program.
Well, if we look at, it's kind of hard to say in terms of, if we just said each one was $10,000 in terms of investment, that'd be 500 homes that
Okay.
could be improved.
Okay, that's a good number.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we have like 1,400.
And if we can get the full NCIF, I'm sorry, if we can get the full NCIF funds, that'd be 1,000 homes. So that would be, you know.
Okay. So that's a good target. I mean, it's meaningful. That's what I meant by that.
Yeah. Joe, do you have a question?
I do. Bert, if it sounds like the documentation for this will take 6 or 9 months to complete, if the NCIF funds become available,
maybe 2 or 3 months. Maybe
Okay.
2 or 3. We actually have the documentation from the Mutual Security Program, so we would adopt that documentation. But there's just a process of us getting that documentation over to the lenders. They have to, you know, consider it. They run it through their committees or whatever, and then they respond. So I'm just thinking that that's probably a 3-month process. So May, June, and July. You know, by August, we should be able to start to bring lenders into the program. But go ahead.
yeah, I thought I heard you say that this wouldn't roll out till 2026.
Oh,
It's FY26, which is
sorry.
June, right? June?
Yeah, July 1 is
July 1,
the
yeah.
new fiscal year.
I got it.
Sorry.
Okay. So
I should have made clear I meant FY26.
all right. So my question is really, I mean, it may be a little less relevant, but if the NCIF funds do free up between now and then, can that just roll into this program, or do we have to then document it separately or in a new fashion?
No, from the board's perspective, the board approval would just gives us the flexibility of going from one to the other, or under the existing approval from the board, if the funds, let's just say, for example, become available in June, we'd never have to use the clean energy funds.
Got it. So you just switch from one to the other. There's no further delay if those funds do become available.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you.
John Harity?
Hi, good morning. I'm sorry I was late, by the way, but I just wanted to express appreciation to Bert and Eric and the team that was nimble enough to figure out another way to do a program that people obviously are very enthusiastic about. The other thing, it's outrageous that we have to do this. It's just astounding that the work that the Green Bank does, which is so vital to the future of the state and the country and the world, really, should be impeded in this way. And I'm just wondering if there's anything that board members or the organizations we represent can do to help with this in any way. That was like a question.
Anybody volunteering?
I would defer to Brian Garcia on that.
There we go. Yeah, on the case, John, I think what we would ask is that in the event we need to be responsive to some legal action, calling a special meeting, just being open to that. We do have the board support for moving forward on any legal action should we deem it necessary for Connecticut to engage in that way. Right now, we are supporting the awardees through that process because we're a sub-awardee. So, positive vibes as we work through this process. To Brian's point, there's no telling how long this might take and or what the end result will be. But we're going to continue to plug away and fight. And, these are get these funds invested where they need to be invested.
All right, well, just let us know, I guess. We're standing by.
Thanks.
I see Joanna. Joanna?
I think I was third in line. I think maybe Kimberly was before me.
Okay, Kimberly.
Thank you, Joanna. Maybe this is an obvious question, and forgive me, Bert, if you covered it. What will happen if, in fact, the NCIF funds never are forthcoming?
Then it would just be a permanent use of the clean energy funds. So what it would mean is that, prospectively, it just means $5 million less in clean energy funds to be deployed and allocated to other Green Bank purposes.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
Okay, so then I think Joanna.
Joanne.
Yeah, I guess it was sort of a subset to Kimberly's question. Given the rollback of environmental justice or equity callouts within other grants, even if the deal for NCIF was restructured, but they carved out the plan basically to making sure that we are getting these funds to LIDAC communities, we'd just have to be willing to take that loss on the clean energy funds, I suppose.
That's right.
Well, it's part of our ultimate mission. I mean, it's not like we're diverting it to something new. I mean, this is what we're there for. So
yeah, good point.
No, I agree.
Sherry.
I'm just trying to get the picture.
Yeah, no, that's good. John, do you have another question? John Harity?
No, I don't know
Okay.
why my hand is up.
Your little icon was looking like it was in need of some recognition again. So
All right, thank you. I'm low tech, so.
you're low tech, okay. Okay.
Are we ready for a vote?
Yeah, so no more. So do I hear a motion to approve resolution 2?
I'll make the motion, Joanna.
Thank
Second.
you, Joanna. Thank you.
Second, John Harity.
Thank you, John. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, great. Moving on.
So we've got green school buses, another program.
Oh, yes, I
under
see.
the
Yes, the
NCIF.
green school buses. Is Sarah?
That'll be Kevin Moss.
Oh, Kevin, okay.
Yeah, Chair Reed, I'm happy to hop in.
Great, thanks, Kevin.
Great.
How are we doing with the green school buses?
We're moving along swiftly. Yeah, BG, feel free to hop in because I know you added this slide late, but just wanted to show that I'd say in terms of the green school buses potential investment as part of our NCIF award, I'd say that we're still looking really nicely within our pipeline and LIDAC targets. You all can see here that we have a 60% target for directing funds to those communities. And I think with the mix of projects that we have before us that came in through the RFP process we ran a few months ago, that we'll likely be able to easily exceed the 60% target, which is really exciting. And then moving on to the next slide, just wanted to provide a bit of an update on the Zoom and Brantford Public Schools potential investment, since this one is potentially a larger one. So just to orient folks to sort of the project background a bit. So Zoom is a bit of a newcomer in the school transportation space. They're not I'd say, fully electric only in terms of their deployment strategy, but they certainly have a lot of expertise in the electric space. And so when they agreed this contract with Brantford Public Schools, they were actually the first school bus operator to leverage the new 10-year contracting authority that was made possible through the Connecticut Clean Air Act. And so I'd say from an investment perspective, that just really strengthens the opportunity with us being able to stage the investment over the length of that contract. And so we're really excited about that. And I'd say similar to what Bert was sharing on the late deposit side, where we have essentially a two-track strategy with being able to use either Clean Energy Fund resources or NCIF resources, and have discussed that with Zoom, and they understand the constraints that we're under and are willing to be flexible there, which is exciting. And I think in terms of the overall investment opportunity, I think we see a great chance to kind of show the proof of concept of the braided grant and financing opportunity that we thought would be available through the RFP, and what we're hopefully seeking to make clear to the market that this can be done. And so in the case of Zoom and Brantford, it would be about a 50-50 split. The overall fleet size is about 50 electric school buses. So being able to electrify that many vehicles is super exciting. And that would be the first fully electrified school bus fleet in the state. And in terms of the overall timeline with that contract that I mentioned, Zoom had planned to essentially electrify the fleet over a 5-year term, but potentially with the Green Bank investment, they would be able to do that in just 3 years. So 2 years ahead of schedule for school year 2027, which is August of 2026. So for a variety of reasons, we're excited about this potential opportunity and hope to bring it back to the board in June for final approval. And then just wanted to make the board aware as well that a number of our other potential investments have started to pick up steam again, because a lot more of the EPA Clean School Bus money has started to flow again. And a number of the Connecticut recipients were in this round 3 that's referenced on the slide. And a lot of those essentially received an award for about half the cost of a new electric school bus. And so those are some of the most, kind of financing needy projects. So we're excited to see that money starting to flow again. And so hope to bring some of those potential investments to the board in June as well. And next slide. And then since the last time I spoke with the board on the electric school bus front, I think we've been essentially trying to build out sort of not only the how that I've spoken to a lot, the how of investing in electric school buses, but also the why. And so I wanted to just highlight some of the potential public health considerations at play with school bus electrification. So as many folks are likely aware, Connecticut has some pretty persistent air quality challenges. And so actually 4 of our 8 counties in Connecticut receive an F for ground level ozone from the American Lung Association. And so we really see school bus electrification as a great opportunity for Green Bank capital to help address these sort of community level air quality challenges, but also the persistent challenge of children's asthma in Connecticut. There's an annual report published on sort of the state of asthma among Connecticut public school students, and unfortunately about 1 in 8 students currently suffer from asthma in Connecticut, which is well above the national average, as you can see on the slide. I think one thing that's personally exciting for us is that a lot of the potential partners and investments we're looking at are in some of the school districts that are most overburdened in this regard. So for CTEX, East Hartford and Hartford, all of these schools have incredibly high rates of child asthma. And so we see our potential investments in school bus electrification as an opportunity to address that challenge. So I think just wanted to offer a reminder to the board on the why we've been doing this work so stridently in the past couple of months. And I'm happy to answer any questions that come up.
What are CTEX?
That is the Connecticut Technical and Education Career System. So the network of, I think it's 17 technical high schools in Connecticut.
That's great.
Any more questions or observations? Okay,
That's
good
it for me,
work.
Chair Reed. Thank you.
That's excellent. Excellent work you guys are doing. Terrific. Let's see, the next item, investment programs,
Yeah, why don't
updates.
yeah, we're going to do a progress to targets, and then we will transition to a modification of a prior approved transaction for Capital for Change. Let me, in Eric's absence, Eric is with his daughter Gemma this morning, who's giving a performance at her school. So he will be in a little later. So I'll be doing just a quick update.
He's got his priorities squared away. We like that.
That's right.
Dad. Yeah.
That's right. Totally. They're awesome. So as you might remember, our target for this fiscal year's 9 projects and working to close on nearly $46 million worth of transactions. So through Q3, we've closed on several facilities. Bert talked about the Smarty Link Deposit with Mutual Security Credit Union. We're working on several other link deposit transactions, one that we just talked about, as well as one with SunGage Financial, trying to bring a solar and storage only financier into the Smart E program. We've got our Scale Microgrid Solutions, which the board might recall with our fuel cell there, Adrian, and the thermal loop in Bridgeport, which is moving along. And Scale Microgrid Solutions working to take finance a number of the commercial and industrial battery storage projects that are currently in the fleet of Energy Storage Solutions program approved transactions. So the team is working quite well towards those targets. And we've got a number of other investments through our Green Bank Solar PPA, CPACE, which you'll hear a lot of today, and our Small Business Energy Advantage. So we're making really good progress towards the investment programs. So that's just a high-level overview on investments. Happy to take any questions, comments, or move it to Bert and Mariana on C4C.
I'll just butt in to tell you that the earth movers are on site, and so are bricks and a lot of other things that are needed to get that fuel cell installed. I see it happening now. It's happening.
Oh, that's awesome.
Great to hear. Great to hear.
Okay, Bert, you want to talk about C4C?
Sure. Can we go to the next slide, please? This is pretty straightforward. We have the line facility. This just recaps for the board, kind of the history there at the top of this slide, and then just to refresh the board that in January the board approved a contract between DEEP and the Green Bank to deploy funds under a U.S. Department of Energy grant that was for revolving loan funds and or interest rate buy downs, $1.3 million worth, specific to energy efficiency. The intended use for that is in multifamily affordable housing. So DEEP and the Green Bank are currently discussing with C4C an enhancement to the line program that is run by Capital for Change, in which the Green Bank extended availability to March 31 of 2026 under its Clean Energy funded program. And so what we plan to do is to use the 1.229 million if C4C is agreeable to all the terms and conditions, which are really the federal conditions that apply, then we would, for eligible projects, we would use an interest rate buy down mechanism to lower the cost of funds from the Green Bank to Capital for Change down to as little as 0%. to make those transactions pencil a bit easier and to offset the extra cost of compliance by the developer. So that's what is on tap here. We need board approval just to make that modification in case we do move ahead with capital for change, and that's the simple request here today.
Do we have any
questions from members of the board? Yeah, happy to take any.
Any questions? Any observations?
Oh, there's a slide. It's just showing. If you go back one, it just shows. This is the slide that we had from the extension presentation in March, but it just shows that the Department of Energy is providing grant funds to DEEP. DEEP, under a contract, is providing those funds to the Green Bank, and we would be funneling those funds on a loan by loan basis to offset the interest expense due from capital for change. So that's just the way, the mechanics of how this works. So yeah, you could go to the resolution slide. Thank you.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve resolution 3?
So moved. Adrian speaking.
Thank you, Adrian. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining?
Joe's going to abstain on this one.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, they're tied in on the contract.
I see. All right. Okay. So moving on to financing programs. Financing programs, updates and recommendations.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Chair Reed. This is Mackie Dykes. I'm going to run us through
Hey,
this
Mackie.
quickly.
Oh, good.
And then run through some transactions. So at a high level, we're doing pretty well for 3/4 of the way through the year. I'll run through the bolded programs here. CPACE, we are 75% of the way to our project total. As you'll see here with the slew of transactions coming to your approval, as well as the 3 you just cleared in the consent agenda, we do have a robust pipeline and feeling good about getting to that overall project total. On the capital deployed total, we've actually already exceeded the target. That's primarily due to the third-party lenders. We had some larger projects come through, which, as I think the board's aware, that sort of third-party lender activity is really outside of our control. We don't get much insight into what they're doing until they come to us for approval of projects. So it's good to see a lot of activity there. It's not a lot of projects. I think we're at 3 or 4, but they do focus on much larger than we do CPACE projects, primarily new construction. On the Green Bank capital deployed target, we're a little behind. That's primarily due to the average project size this year being lower, but because of that third party capital deployed being so high from a program perspective, we're in good shape already. On the solar map front, this actually differs from the memo that you received because we actually we're working on the data infrastructure for this relatively new program. So all that doesn't fit together yet to lead to tidy reporting that comes out for our progress to targets. So it's in a good way, though. The numbers look a lot better in terms of the actual performance. For the projects across our 3 channels that MAP do, municipalities, the state of Connecticut, and affordable multifamily, we have hit the project totals. And for municipal and affordable multifamily, we've exceeded the capital deployed target. So very exciting to see, particularly on the affordable multifamily front. Excited to see our first projects close here. It's been quite the journey. Emily, Katie, and the rest of the team have become, in addition to being solar experts, are now affordable housing program experts. So navigating those, getting all the approvals necessary, it's been quite the maze. But we are finally at the point of closing projects. And we have a good pipeline behind this. So good shape there. I will point out on the state side, we're, as you see, 9% on the capital deployed, progress to target. We did not get some of the larger projects this year that we had hoped. So we did get one close, but it's just happened to be one of the much smaller ones. However, the thanks to the RFP we ran this year and the results we got from that, we anticipate closing a good number of projects next year. So you'll see a higher target there for FY26 when you see those goals here in a few months, and you know, we'll have great activity in that space. On our solar lease, solar and storage lease and PPA. We have two channels here. It's our lending to other third-party owners, and then our sort of direct project development with developers. On the debt to third-party owners, we haven't had any draws or sort of project closings yet. As Brian Garcia mentioned in his investments update, we did close the debt facility with Down East, who is a solar third-party owner. So hope to start seeing some drawdowns on that, which would equate to projects counting towards that project and capital deployed target here of four projects at 3 million. And then on the developer front, this has been yeah.
Yeah, we do have Skyview that's drawing very shortly.
Yep. And then on the developer channel,
we'll
this
get
has
some
been
progress there.
Great. And then on the developer channel, this has been a transition period as we move away from our exclusive relationship with IPC. So we didn't have any targets there this year, but we did end up closing one lease. Nice to see that. And we, as we've sort of re-entered the market directly with our product there, we're building a robust pipeline, and you'll see a goal for that product next year. And finally, SBEA, right where you want to be at 3/4 of the way through the year at 75 and 76% of our capital deployed and project goals. So generally, financing programs for project progress to targets, we are 3/4 of the way through, 75%, and we're actually right at 100% of the capital deployed, again, primarily due to the third-party lenders with CPACE, and then our municipal MAP project being larger than anticipated. So unless there's any questions on progress to targets, then we'll move to some new projects, CPACE projects, to hopefully get us to that project total. We actually, Catherine Duncan, who is normally one of two presenters on projects, got stranded in Spain. So she was not able to, I think she might be with us actually. But let's see, I'm trying to see. Yep, she's with us on the phone, but was not able to get fully prepped to present today. So Stephanie Etruria, who recently joined her team in the last year, will be presenting to the first time here to the board on a number of these CPACE projects. So Stephanie, let me turn it over to you to run through this first project.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie Etruria. I work on the financing programs team. I'll be presenting the next 5 CPACE transactions for your approval. Next slide, thank you. The first CPACE transaction, we are seeking approval for a CPACE loan at a 12,000 square foot industrial facility located at 10 Still River Drive in New Milford. This property is owned by 10 Still River Realty. The project consists of a 123 kilowatt rooftop solar installation. The property has secured a netting tariff incentive award with Eversource. This property was purchased in 2024 by 10 Still River Realty. It is a tenant occupied building. The tenant is Club 24. That is a well-established health club gym with multiple gyms in Connecticut. The owner of 10 Still River Realty, Anthony DeFeo, has been in the real estate industry for over 25 years. and has a portfolio of multiple properties with commercial space warehouses. Next slide. Let's see. 10 Still River Realty is requesting $323,000 in financing with a 15-year loan at 5% to install the rooftop solar array. The borrower is still deciding between a standard mortgage style repayment schedule or a sculpted repayment schedule where the ITC is applied in year 2. So that's why there's 2 ratios for the DSCR and the SIR. So currently with the mortgage repayment schedule, the DSCR is 1.58 with a LTV of 85%. And a lien to value of 16.1%. With the standard repayment schedule for 10 Still River Realty, the cash flows are positive in the first 5 years, with cash flows going to negative in the remaining years on the loan. For that reason, we presented the sculpted repayment schedule as well. With the mortgage style, the SIR, savings to investment ratio, is 1.53. And for the sculpted repayment schedule, you'll see here, this brought the cash flows to positive, and it brings the savings to investment ratio up to 1.66. He's still deciding on which term he'd like to go with, but both SIRs are very strong. If anyone has any questions on this transaction, I'd be happy to answer.
No questions, no observations? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 4?
I'll make that motion. It's Joe.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second, John Harity.
Thank you, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, excellent. Thank you. Moving on.
Great, thank you. Our next CPACE transaction we are seeking approval for is another industrial property located at 80 Sanford Street in Hamden. This property is owner occupied, and the owner owns both Porobon Properties and Porobon Products, LLC. Porobon Products manufactures heat exchangers for the United States Army. The owner of both entities, Wayne Paulson, has been in the specialized industry for over 25 years and works with his son, who will eventually take over the business. And this project will be a 182 kilowatts rooftop solar installation, and they have secured a buy all, sell all tariff. Next slide, please. Porobon Properties is requesting a 10-year loan for $400,000 at 4.75%. There's no mortgage on the property. The loan to value and lien to value is 34.9% with a very strong DSCR at 3.74. Next slide. The cash flows for this transaction are positive for the first 3 years, and then the cash flows are negative the remaining 7 years. This is due to the loan term being shorter. For that reason, we did provide the borrower with the sculpted repayment option to review as well. He ended up reviewing with his accountant and deciding on the standard mortgage style option. And as you can see, the SIR is very strong at 1.86. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Hey, seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 5?
This is Allison, so moved.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Joe will second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay. Thank you. Moving on. We have another Hamden project.
Yes, this is actually next door neighbors to Porobon, located at 100 Sanford Street in Hamden. This is also an industrial property owned by Aaron 100 Sanford Street LLC. They are looking to install a 131 kilowatt rooftop solar installation with AEC Solar. They have secured a buy all sell all tariff with Eversource, or I'm sorry, UI. This building is owner occupied, with the owner owning both the property entity and the business entity package that will be a co-borrower on the loan. And Package LLC is a specialty printing, die cutting, and folding packaging company. They've been in the business for over 50 years with approximately 26 employees. The borrower is requesting financing for $283,000 with a 20-year loan term at 5.25%. The loan to value is 87% and the lien to value at 7.5%. And the DSCR is at 1.36. With this transaction, the cash flows are positive every year with an overall savings to investment ratio of 1.62. And happy to answer any questions on this one.
Any questions? Okay, seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 6?
So moved, Adrian speaking.
Thank you, Adrian. Do I hear a second? John?
Second, yes.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, thank you. The next project is Bethel.
Yes. Our next transaction is for a 71,000 square foot industrial warehouse in Bethel, looking to install a 231 kilowatt rooftop solar array with Evergreen Energy. They have secured a buy all sell all tariff incentive award. This property is owned by 11 Durant Ave LLC, who's acquired the building in 2023. The sole owner of 11 Durant Ave manages and owns multiple industrial properties in Connecticut. This property is occupied by a diverse range of tenants, including First Student, which is a school transportation provider who leases their space outdoors for their school buses, and Naval Power Systems, a provider of self-defense products. The borrower has requested financing of $496,000 for a 20-year loan at 5.25%. The loan to value is at 72.8% and the lien to value is at 7.8%. And the DSCR is 1.49. For this transaction, the cash flows are positive every year with an overall savings to investment ratio of 1.57. Happy to answer any questions on this transaction.
Any questions? Okay, again, seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 7?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second, Joe?
Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Okay. And then the next transaction is Middletown?
Yes, our last transaction, we are seeking approval for a CPACE transaction at a 34,000 square foot office building located in Middletown, owned by Centerpoint Holdings, LLC. This project consists of a 196 kilowatt rooftop solar installation with Earthlight Technologies. The borrower has secured a netting tariff award with Eversource. Centerpoint Holdings LLC is owned solely by Dr. Dennis Boubalis. This is a 20-unit commercial office building with approximately 15 tenants. The owner shares common ownership with one of the tenants, Superior Associate Infusion Center. Next slide. This borrower has requested $423,000 in financing with a 20-year loan at 5.25%. The loan to value and lien to value are both at 11.9% with a DSCR at 1.54. And this transaction also has positive cash flows from year 1 to 20 with an overall savings to investment ratio of 1.62. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on this one.
John? John Harity?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, we track a lot of the green jobs that are created through these projects, but it strikes me that we're also helping to provide stability for the employees at these facilities where we're able to cut down their energy costs at the same time we're cutting down on carbon. That it's so important because this is one of the things that businesses talk about all the time is the cost of energy in Connecticut, and the fact that we can reduce these costs so significantly really helps the people that are working in all these places. So there's so many different benefits to CPACE. It's a great program, and these are all great projects. So I just wanted to comment on that.
It's a great point, John. And one thing, yeah, I think you were around. You probably recall our Energy on the Line program, which focused. It was sort of enhancing the benefits of CPACE projects to manufacturers, and we ended up doing a lot, over a dozen through that. And one of the takeaways that we heard from so many manufacturers was not only that the one you talk about there, but that their employees benefited through a better work environment. The solar, it's not really the case, but we did a lot of energy efficiency projects through that. And so they had better heating and cooling, they had better lighting. That was actually like one of the things we heard the most from the manufacturers, that it just never really occurred to us. We're so focused on the energy benefits, the environmental benefits, but that was one of the, like I said, the most cited for the energy efficiency projects benefits that we got.
I know when I speak to like Rotary groups and various things, how aware everybody is of our CPACE efforts. I mean, that's one of the programs that people really know about. So getting out there and doing a lot of good.
Great. Next slide.
So do I hear a motion to approve?
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Forgot about that.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 8?
Motion to approve. This is Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda. Do I hear a second?
Second, John Harity.
Thank you, John. All in favor?
Aye.
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 You opposed? Abstaining? Okay. Now moving on, Mackie.
All right, so we are going to provide an update on incentive programs, and I think Ed, are you there? Ed Kranich, who works with Sergio Carrillo on the Energy Storage Solutions program.
Hey, Brian. Yes, I am here. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Yes,
Thanks,
great, Ed. Thanks.
All right, next slide, please. All right, so I'm going to talk about the Energy Storage Solutions program, progress to targets for this year. So generally, Energy Storage Solutions is performing on target for where we are in the year to reach our relatively conservative targets. We set a target, I'll start with commercial. We set a target for 5 commercial projects for this year, but we're sitting at 3 approved right now. The project sizes, however, are much larger than expected, as shown by our progress to capital deployed and megawatt targets. So we set the targets at assuming about 2 megawatts each per C&I project, but the actuals were actually a little bit over 3 megawatts on average. So overall, these larger projects help us to serve to do more with less by using less rebate funding through our declining incentive structure. So larger projects receive a lower incentive per watt due to the increased cost benefits of the larger systems. So this is good for maximizing ratepayer benefits. But these projects do have a longer pathway to being operational as they have larger and more complicated hurdles with interconnection and siting. There's an illustration here on the left side of a very commonly spec'd commercial system. It's the Tesla Megapack. It's a mostly self-contained unit that can be dropped onto a concrete pad at a host customer site. It's about 30 feet long, 9 feet high, and it's about the size of a shipping container for reference. On residential, it continues to move along kind of slowly, but very steadily. In December of 2024, PURA, who oversees the ESS program, approved a shift in the overall program capacity by diverting 140 megawatts away from the residential goal into the commercial goal. So this was done after some consideration in the 2024 program annual review of market demand and trends in the residential sector, and just that commercial was moving much faster and had much more demand than residential. So the residential program now has a 9-year goal of 150 megawatts instead of the original 290 megawatts, which is much more realistic to obtain. So we're currently 3/4 of the way through our annual goal of 500 megawatts with a capital deployment below expectations and megawatt deployed above expectations. Again, this can be interpreted as a good thing, as it shows that cost per watt are coming down relative to last year and that sizes are increasing. So once again, doing more with less. This has been notable in the average residential system size, increasing from about 8.6 kilowatts to over 13 kilowatts since 2023, since we started the program. And the average pre-incentive costs, which is exciting, is decreasing from around $32,000 to just over $28,000 in the same time frame. So residential customers in the program have opted for a few different models of battery storage from names like Tesla, Enphase, Generac. But one of the most commonly spec'd systems is the Franklin Whole Home battery, which I have a couple of them on the screen here. This one is very popular. A lot of installers have decided to pick up on it, and that's part of the reason that the system size and presumably the cost have changed so much. Installers have told us that the equipment is a little bit cheaper. It's easier to install, so it can be faster to install, which is more affordable. And their newest model actually has a pretty high power output. So this is the reason that our system size has increased so much. So this is actually a pretty significant system on here. This is a pretty commonly spec system to have 2 of these units, and it can run pretty high power HVAC equipment, heat pumps, and even an EV charger with a 20 kilowatt output. This one, each unit is about the size of a large filing cabinet, but not quite as deep. They can be installed on a wall, indoors or outdoors. So just for reference here, it's kind of hard to tell on the screen how big they are. And so finally, I just wanted to note that while we're seeing costs and technology moving in the right direction, we don't know what the current economic and political landscape will do to affect the storage market with regards to tariffs and consumer confidence. But we will continue to support our installer base by continuing our outreach efforts and building the awareness and the demand. We're always working to either bring in new OEMs, bring in new contractors, and make the program better through our annual review process with PURA to boost consumer confidence, to boost demand with consumers, but also to decrease the overall peak demand on the grid by increasing the amount of batteries that are deployed. So any questions before I turn it back over to Eric? It looks like Eric has just arrived.
Yep, I am here. What am I here to cover? Progress to targets.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot.
Excuse me, the more important question, how did your daughter do?
Oh, she did great. She did
Good.
great, and she probably would have been even better had I not been there. And
No,
fawning over her,
got to have your dad there. Okay, Eric.
I appreciate the board's understanding. In terms of progress to targets on Smarty, we're about halfway to the target, 3/4 of the way through the year, which is a little disappointing, but we're seeing macroeconomic factors really impact the loan. Just economically, what we're hearing from contractors is that just people are not doing the jobs. It's that we're proportionally doing the loans that we expect to be doing, but they're just overall business is down. People aren't spending. We are in a bright note. We had targets around climate resiliency measures, which are our measures that encompass the new EI resiliency measures and storage, so the expanded Smart E. And we are ahead of our target on the climate resiliency side. We've done 26 measures fiscal year to date. 5 of those are pure environmental infrastructure measures. So making progress on the new stuff, but just overall, the loan is down. I think that we should hopefully see an uptick in the program when we get the new link deposits that were just approved launched. So remain positive, but I think that for this year, we're not going to make it to the target. So.
Okay, thank you. Next, I'm seeing environmental infrastructure. So Lee Welton.
Thank you, Chair Reed. I'll just kick off with a perennial reminder that following the strategic memo of market opportunities we presented to the board last summer, EI is still a new focus for the Green Bank. And so we continue to anticipate that our strategy and opportunities will evolve as with our ongoing engagement with stakeholders, as we continue identifying project opportunities, as we begin to finance initial transactions, and as we work more closely with capital providers. So thank you. So I'll just note at the outset, this is the first year that the Environmental Infrastructure Programs team has had quantitative targets. We also hired and onboarded staff this year. So there's plenty behind the numbers to keep folks updated on. But as we look at our FY25 targets and where we are here at the end of Q3, heading into Q4, Eric noted where we are in the context of Smart E. I will add to that by sharing in the context of capital solutions for our one transaction for $1 million of Green Bank capital deployed, that we do anticipate reaching all of our targets by the end of FY25. So this includes bringing our first transaction forward at the May 21st Deployment Committee meeting. This also includes supporting market adoption of those newly added Smart E climate adaptation and resilience measures, as well as water measures. So thinking about resilience both in the broadest context and then in a more narrow sense related to environmental infrastructure. This also includes a scoping process for the Green Bank's CPACE resilience offering, which does follow that expansion of the program technical guidelines last summer. So we're excited to bring forward our first transaction to the deployment committee. We envision that that would put us ahead of our Green Bank capital deployment target for the year related to capital solutions, and look forward to hopefully rounding out our first year of quantitative targets with attaining across the board. Next slide. As folks may know, the environmental infrastructure team in the comprehensive plan also has a number of more qualitative targets. That includes thinking about, in the context of Smart E and CPACE, measure expansion and support for market development. In the context of capital solutions and unique project opportunities, we are bringing forward that transaction, as I said, in the May Deployment Committee. It is related to organic waste management, so stay tuned for more there. We're also working quite actively on pipeline development across our origination strategies. So at the moment, our estimate is tracking or vetting approximately 18 projects that align with our near-term origination strategy. The majority of those, but not exclusively, being related to organic waste management following a deep dive that our team did in the context of the waste and recycling primer, with that significant focus on supporting the state's 60% diversion target by 2024, and specifically honing in on the ability to help get the state closer to the potential of organic waste management and diversion strategies. Currently, the state's at somewhere around 9% of organics diverted, and the academic estimate is that we could be as close, much closer to 41%. On the continuing engagement front, we did finalize and launch that waste and recycling primer. And I'll say, as part of that exercise, really looked into existing funding programs, sources of financing, and distilled for ourselves a set of opportunities for further exploration. That is where the focus for our origination strategy stems from, along the if you will, kind of spectrum of food waste prevention, rescue, and recycling opportunities here in Connecticut. That also includes support for community engagement, which is the implementation of, at least related to environmental infrastructure, components of the organization-wide outreach and engagement plan. Keeping key community channel partners updated, so thinking about key stakeholders like the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities or the Conference of Small Towns, and also building strategic partnerships, including folks who can help us as we continue on our market research and development priorities. We've been actively supporting various aligned policy objectives this session. Principal among those, as you've heard from us before, is SB 9. So chief within that, the concept of resiliency improvement districts, some other key pieces of legislation as well, including House Bill 5004, including House Bill 6917, that would help align enforcement around the commercial organics recycling law that could show up in a big way to support some of our strategies on organic waste management solutions and really creating more both supply and market viability for certain in-state processing solutions. Next slide. As far as raising resources, we continue to identify, pursue, and think about ways to receive opportunities or create partnerships with potential capital partners, be they foundation support, be they for-profit, other financing and capital partners. We are in the process of and expect to finalize a determination about how Green Liberty bonds can support environmental infrastructure projects and potential future programs by year's end, and to share that around. And on the market research and development front, we've been active on a number of opportunities. Folks may be familiar with the Stormwater Solutions Project, where we were better understanding the ability for smart e-lending to help address both stormwater management and flood risk, especially for residents of North Hartford impacted by flooding. We've been working with the Department of Energy's National Renewable Energy Laboratory on technical assistance for municipal solutions for organic waste management. We have completed and are now kicking off 2 different park score efforts. So completed the Hartford Park Score last summer, heading into the beginning of the fiscal year. And we are now just kicking off a new park score in partnership with PT Partners, a community partner, and the Trust of Public Land in Bridgeport. And then are also currently exploring the potential for a municipal resilience pilot, which would be in the auspice of planning for success around SB 9 and the concept of resiliency improvement districts. We are just getting started on some of the work around data targeting and impact, thinking about ways that we can use various mapping or other GIS tools to help target some of our strategies, and also starting some steady progress as we begin to think about how, related to projects and transactions that the Environmental Infrastructure Programs team brings through, we will then be able to incorporate our impact metrics and evaluation into the Green Bank's overall process for doing so and reporting. So overall, I'd say our four-person team has been quite busy across the board, both originating our early transactions here, developing and managing a pipeline for those to follow, and also tending to a broader set of research, engagement, market development, and other activities in concert with the comprehensive plan. So more to come as we consider rounding out the year of impact.
Excellent work. Thank you.
Yeah, are you feeling more enthusiasm from the municipalities? Because I think there's been such confusion over the last several years over, which sounds like an oxymoron sometimes, waste management. I mean, they must be thrilled to think that there's a direction happening finally.
A lot to comment on there. So well, I would say, municipal, especially post-consumer food waste, continues to be one of the more challenging aspects of the state's waste management issues, let's say, challenges. But we are encouraged by some project sponsor thinking and potential proposals in FY26 that we think would help to both bring solutions online that could handle the increased contamination that comes from the type of organic waste that is more post-consumer and developed at the municipal. And also just our team has had an incredible ability through the primer process to learn about what it means for kind of this broader ecosystem of organic waste management, from collection, logistics, pre-processing on through to processing infrastructure. And that's barely having scratched the surface on other facets like the prevention of food waste in the first place.
I see Joanna has a comment or a question.
Yeah, I wanted to express gratitude for the ongoing engagement from the environmental infrastructure team on resiliency measures across Connecticut, and I'm really excited about the opportunities that that this team has presented. I wanted to also lift up the resilience opportunity area methodology that Yukon Circa has established, which is identifying discrete geographic areas within communities that have moderate to high climate vulnerability, and also additional planning priorities, including housing or transportation or drinking water provisioning. And I think that those ROARs, which are moving along a project continuum based on local engagement, some of them are at the design phase and have high local or regional engagement with the COG. Those have, I think, a high opportunity value for maybe scoping out valuation of the ecosystem services. And I think the valuation of the ecosystem services could provide a translation on costs, avoided costs for future climate impacts, or additional ecosystem services that they provide in terms of stormwater retention or things like that. So the ecosystem services could be valuated for stormwater authorities or revenue bonds or insurance premium reductions and things like that. And so I think that those areas haven't been already identified through a planning process with local engagement, have high value or high expectations to be able to move forward to implementation and project construction. And so that they might be really good case studies for this type of effort.
Absolutely. And by the rules of improv, I'll give that a yes and. So we continue to think that the resilient opportunity areas is, a very deeply enmeshed and kind of community-oriented and community-driven place where a lot of the necessary planning has or is envisioned to occur. And along with that, not necessarily only looking at the ecosystem service values, but in concert to a cost benefit of a nature-based solution as opposed to a gray solution, when you take into context the extreme amount of co-benefits associated with the use of nature-based solutions over certain gray, or the ability to join those in some kind of a hybrid engineering or methodology, and then also the potential for lower maintenance costs over time. So if you think about it, a natural solution, nature-based solution, will become more functional and add more value over time depending on the solution, as opposed to certain gray infrastructure, which actually degrades over time. So thinking about how we use economic analysis and other indicators to help, make that case to municipalities is a big part of what our team hopes to achieve as we learn more in municipal resilience going forward, obviously in close concert with you, Joanna.
Excellent. Any more observations? Well, thank you for all that good work. Oh, wait. Adrienne.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to let you know that there's a movement amongst two of your board members, Brendan and myself, along with Kathy Fay in New Haven, to move forward 3 resiliency hubs, one in each neighborhood. So North Hartford, in New Haven, and I'm in the South End. So we have 2 challenges. One is the physical disposition, and the other one is the information and education of our surrounding communities. So we're happy to see this move forward, and I think we can look forward to a lot of coordination between these 3 efforts and the Connecticut Green Bank.
Excellent. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I think with the on to other business. Brian Farn is going to talk about the legislative process.
Sure. Do we want to go to the next slide? And I'll do this quickly because I know we have the executive session too.
Yeah.
I think the key thing is committee deadlines have concluded. This long session really has been moving along. You've seen a lot of things in the press. And really the major acts that we're really focused on are SB 9, which is Governor Lamont's resiliency legislation. We feel that with the great work that Lee and their team is doing, that we're really hopeful that legislation is going to pass this session. And there's going to be a lot of opportunity for environmental infrastructure deployment. So we've been really supportive of that. That's SB 9. HB 5004. I don't think they want to call it the Green Monster Bill anymore, but that's being negotiated. I don't know where that's going to go. So time will tell, but there are a lot of clean energy components to that. We can go to the next slide. So then we have SB 4, which is the Senate Democrats this is kind of like their aircraft carrier bill. If I was a betting person, I have a feeling this is going to be another one that's gonna go on and get passed by the legislature and likely be approved by the governor's office. And that's currently being negotiated. And I think a lot of the, I would say, random, or not random, but important environmental infrastructure bills that are, sometimes elsewhere. I think they're hopefully will find a home there. And then we have HB 1560. This is Senator John Fonfara's energy bill. If you've been reading the press, it's been very much involved with that. There's a myriad of ideas within that. My guess, if I was a betting person, I think there's going to be components of that HB 1560 that find their way into SB 4, and that's what ends up getting passed. That's where we are. We're trying to keep our head down, provide support to the environmental, the E&T leaders and the other leadership on both sides, so we could be a resource and working, hand in hand with DEEP, who's been a great partner, and OPM, to try to ensure that this is a successful energy legislative session.
Thank you. Comments?
This is Dominic. I had a question on HB 1560, and I think we kind of talked about this in previous meetings, and I forgive me if I can't keep up with all the different components of the different bills, but can you talk a little bit about the implication of the public benefit charge modification that's proposing? Like both like short term and then long term if things get funded through bonding instead of
we'd obviously I don't if I was I mean I don't want to get too much into it, but I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think that would be in the best interest of the ratepayers by moving it from one basically area to another area. 'Cause then you're just shuffling around cost. I mean, if there are infrastructure components of the system benefit charge, you can see where bonding would likely make some sense to do that and taking that out of the system benefit charge. But a lot of that is kind of up for negotiation and being discussed right now.
I think Claire Coleman's testimony was really good on that, the Office of Consumers Counsel, about, how unwieldy that is in terms of supply and bonding, the whole bonding structure and how that works. So I don't. Exactly. You've probably seen that already, Dominic, but it was really well spelled out.
I'd be happy to give you a call afterwards, Dominic, to kind of go through some of this stuff too.
Oh yeah, that's fine. And it's probably better to just. Obviously, everyone's working on it, and speculating about where things will land is probably not super productive right now. But appreciate it.
Okay. Let's see. I think we have some other items. Bert Hunter.
I'm going to cover them, Madam Chair. This is Brian. A couple of things on the docket for other business before we get into executive session. So the first one was just kind of an update on yesterday. So when folks come to our office, right when you walk into our lobby, you see to the right there, hanging on the wall, Executive Order 1. Which 6 years ago to yesterday, to the day, April 24th of 2019, Governor Lamont signed his first executive order with Commissioner Dykes, and that was effectively the greener.gov executive order. That executive order included state agencies working to install renewable energy to both help protect the environment while reducing taxpayer dollars, or saving taxpayer dollars. So it was fantastic being with the Green Bank team yesterday, Mackie, Nikki, Alex, James, Rudy, like just across the board, being with the team and helping the state to unveil this 2.4 megawatt ground-mounted system at the Department of Corrections in Cheshire. There were really three of these, installs at this site to get to 2.4 megawatts. It's quite a lot of space when you look at it. But the governor was there, the lieutenant governor was there. You see Commissioner Gilman, Deputy Commissioner Carlos, and the Green Bank team. Total Energies, our partner, making all of this happen. We're talking about a $20 million investment overall in these 7 facilities that amount to 8.4 megawatts across the state for the Department of Corrections. They're effectively paying 7.5 cents per kilowatt hour and going to be saving $11 million over the 25-year power purchase agreement. There was a question from the press on how much load the solar PV panels at this facility in Cheshire provided. And given it was just such a fantastic day, the weather was great, the temperatures were great, 85% of the load of that building was being supplied by solar. So really, really cool to see it. Yeah. Big kudos to the team, being there, working with DIS, working with DEEP, OPM over the years to get these in place. Chris, the engineer for Department of Corrections, was super excited. He was like, this brings a lot of positive energy to, literally to the Department of Corrections, which he's like, bring more of this. Let's do more of these events because we don't get this much positive attention. And, you know, so when we talk about other things beyond greenhouse gas emissions and energy savings, you know, there are all those emotional things that uplift our public servants as well. So just a great day implementing EO1 and celebrating there with the governor and others. So a big kudos to the team pulling that together. And then secondly, on the right, so we are planning and working hard to issue our third Green Liberty bond, most likely in the late summer, August timeframe. You might recall we've had several Green Liberty bond issuances of our solar home renewable energy credits through the residential solar program. We've got a batch of about 11,000 systems over 90 megawatts that we're currently working on some assessments of, likelihood of production. We will then be working with our colleagues at the Treasurer's Office, OPM, working towards self-sufficiency findings in order for us to access the Special Capital Reserve Fund. So our hope is to come back in June to the board to present on the SCARP utilization. Then likely in July, come back to the board for an approval to then issue the bond in August. So that's our temporary timeline, but we're excited to be coming back into the market with our Green Liberty bond, our final Green Liberty bond as it applies to the solar home renewable energy credits. So those are just a couple of fun updates. Happy to take questions, comments. All right. Okay. So we're at the final agenda item for the day, which would be an executive session item. And let me just kind of describe it and see if we can get a motion to move into executive session. So we've got a matter related to our real estate lease for our office space in Stamford that we're currently under negotiations on with various parties. So we wanted to take this into executive session. So what just kind of the general steps we would take, we would request that we move into executive session. Those members on the line beyond Eric, so Eric Schrago, Brian Farnan, Bert Hunter, myself will be present with the board. We would ask that others step out of the meeting. We'll hold executive session and then we will reconvene to come out with a proposed resolution. So those are the steps that we're going to be taking. But if there are any questions before I seek a motion for us to move into executive session for real estate lease transaction under current negotiation with multiple parties consideration.
I should just say the Stamford office is very important, obviously, given all of the financial resources that we're always seeking and encouraging. That office gets a lot of work.
Perfect. Okay.
Do we hear a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. John Harity.
Thank you, John. Do we hear a second?
Second, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? All right, into executive session we go.
Okay,
just
so
a point of information for those who are going to be asked to leave. Is there going to be are we going to be adjourning from executive session, or are we coming back to conduct further business?
We're coming back to approve a resolution or disapprove, whatever, however the vote goes, that hopefully comes out of executive session.
Okay, so people will have to log back in, I assume.
Yes.
Well, I don't think we're going to need any staff members, so long as the board members stay with us, Bert, and we have Ariel, who we could ping or get, or I can give her the minutes afterwards.
If somebody messages me on Teams when you guys are returning, I can hop right back in.
Excellent.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariel. Okay, I'm going to stop recording and then we'll give it a moment for folks to come on or come off. Okay.
Okay. So we have agreed, our team has agreed that Resolution 9 should be voted on, and involving a new real estate transaction involving a new office space to replace the Stanford office space. Do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 9?
I'll make
So
that
moved.
motion. It's Joe.
Hey, Joe, thank you. Do we hear a second?
I'll second
Second.
Joanna.
Thank you, Joanna. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay. Thank you, everybody. I think that concludes our agenda. And so if there are no objections, well, let's see. Let's have a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Board of Directors.
So moved.
In a second.
I could second.
Thank you so much. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Anybody want to hang around forever? Okay. Okay, that concludes our meeting. We are now adjourned, and thank you, everybody.
Thank
Okay.
you.
A lot.
I
Have a
know.
great weekend, all.
Bye-bye.
Great weekend.
Yeah, have a great
Bye.
weekend.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Lonnie, have a great
Bye-bye.
weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.